This is The Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise. Welcome back. I am so looking forward to today's episode. I am going to demystify what I'm calling the magic pill mindset, and I'm going to help fortify your mastery mindset. So I'm going to share some ideas, tactics, and strategies that really help to remove this idea of more fast now and put you into a stronger mindset around mastery where you're going to develop behaviors, habits, perspectives that give you not only wins in the immediate, but long-term wins. That's really what we all want, right? We don't want to just be a one-hit wonder, have a great moment. We want long-standing, sustained wins, right? So let's get into it. So the other day, while doing some housekeeping in my home, I was listening to a podcast and some ads come on, and one of the ads was a pretty typical one where, you're listening to the individual talk about whatever this person was selling and, selling this idea that you could get this thing fast now, like this 1, 2, 3 step, and then you're going to have it all figured out kind of ad, right? We see this so much more and more today than ever before in marketing. And I'm listening to that and I was like, man, fuck this. It irked me enough to want to create this episode because anybody who has created anything great in their life, whether it's a personal win, professional, both, I highly doubt that any one of those individuals, myself included, will tell you, oh yeah, it was super easy. It was like this quick, 1, 2, and it was done. I had it all figured out, nailed it. No, it doesn't work that way. And, unfortunately, most people, do want the fast, a lot, now kind of, win or gain. And, so much of how we're doing things in society isn't helping that mindset. It's actually creating more of this magic pill mindset. I mean, a great example would be you don't have to do much to get your food to be fed these days. You could literally grab your phone, you're on the couch, push the button, door rings, 15 minutes later, and you just get up to grab the food and sit right back down on the couch. There was no effort. There was no skill. There was literally nothing much involved to get what you wanted. And I'm not saying that everything in life needs to be this long, enduring, process where it's just, sweat equity every single day, But what I am saying is that if it's something that matters to you, that you want to be great at or, have stay in your life for the rest of your life, then it's just not going to be a 1, 2, 3 step thing. I mean, in my work, everything that I share pretty much on the podcast and in all other facets of my work, I don't give you the 1, 2, 3 step. I can give you 1, 2, 3 ideas. I can give you 1, 2, 3 tactics, right? Just in terms of the 1, 2, 3 factor. But there is no shortcuts or handouts to anything that I'm talking about that I impart to you, when we're talking about developing more self-confidence, self-trust, self-love, forging an unbreakable relationship with your authentic self, really getting clear on your high, hard goals and creating strategies that help you to achieve your goals, strategies that help you shift your programming that disempowers you, that sabotages you. None of this work comes easy. It's all skill. And skill, to really get good at a skill, to master a skill, it requires practice. And in that practice, you're going to take a lot of hits. There's going to be a lot of missed shots, right? I mean, Jordan is probably my favorite example of what true winning looks like. He accredits all of the failing in practice that he experienced to get him to all of the winning that he experienced in, the moments when it counted in the games, right? So, I want to share some stories and some ideas that are really going to bring this home. And again, it's not to say that everything has to be long and hard and miserable to master. It's just more about embracing the mindset that the journey to get into mastery, the journey to fortify any kind of skill, these behaviors, these habits that actually shape your lifestyle, that journey needs to be embraced for all that it is and not just this fast forward, trying to push that button constantly, because there's no fucking way that you're actually going to master that skill. If that's what you're trying to do, you are going to avoid and miss both, essential pieces to get you into actual mastery, right? So whether it's your health, you want to master that. Whether it's your finances, you want to master that. Anything in your career, you want to master that. How to, be a stronger partner. So your relationships, you want to get into more mastery around that. All of this is a process and a constant practice. So probably the most perfect story example to start with is weight loss. So many of you may already know, and there's a lot of you who are not going to know this, but when I was a teenager, a long time ago, I had 3 back-to-back knee injuries from this epic kick in Taekwondo. Blew out my knee, unfortunately. And yeah, so it would result in, pretty much like 2 years of just being in and out of surgeries and the rehabilitation. It was a fucking mess. And it totally rocked me in every way, shape, and form. I was this super athletic, surfer, skater, just like body composition, always dialed in, didn't matter what I was eating, even though at the time it was all not necessarily great food. Taco Bell, no offense, but, American diet. So that, after 2 years of just not being able to be active and the diet, like it caught up to me, and it would, change my body composition in a way that was not optimal. And that would psychologically affect me too, because it was like, who is this? I wasn't familiar with, this new body that I was in, and I didn't have the tools yet. Tools, i.e. behaviors, habits, even the perspective and the mentality, to the education, certainly, to know how to get myself back into optimal body composition, like my optimal health and shape, right? So, this is my late teens, and, this would set me on a journey for over 10 years where I had that, magic pill mindset trying to get me back to, I'll call homeostasis, like my optimal body composition, right? And so I tried everything, things that were just, I look back on, especially from, now being so well educated in biology and, physiology and neuroscience. I mean, I have so much compassion because, again, I didn't know shit back then, but, I was just so desperate to like, just try and fix it, and it was just messy. It was like everything in that magic pill mindset where you're just, trying this quick fix, trying that quick fix. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. Let's try that. And that cycle is exhausting, and it led me nowhere great. I mean, there were some moments where it looked like, oh yeah, this is working a little bit, I'd trim down a little bit more and, but I didn't it wasn't teaching me, the modalities, the magic pill modality wasn't teaching me the behaviors, the habits. And, in my youngest years, I was an athlete, right? Competitively as a runner. So I still had those roots in me, but I was now at this stage of my life where it was almost like I was so desperate to get there fast, that, I wasn't necessarily trying to pull on those roots, my roots as an athlete. And even then, it still wasn't enough information that would actually put me officially in the game that would, change everything for me, right? So, I did this for so many years until finally, it was just exhausting. It was very demoralizing because it felt like no matter what I would do, I'd always maybe I'd get one step ahead, but I never sustained the ultimate goal, right? At all. Actually. And, at the times my brothers would be because they're all athletes, they'd be giving me advice, do this, lift more weights, heavy weights, eat more protein. And I was just not hearing it at the time, and that's for a lot of different reasons. It was just a different time back then. And, the influence and how we kind of looked at our bodies as women and that played into my psychology. But anyways, moving the story forward, it finally started to shift for me when I hit 30. Where I was like, okay, let me start doing this different. And I really took so much more time to get more educated in high quality, evidence-based areas that pertain to biology, physiology, neuroscience, right? Nutrigenomics, how food was actually impacting every aspect of my being. And made changes. And I had already made some changes to my diet. I was already the healthy friend, for several years at that point. But I didn't have the behaviors and the habits and ultimately the perspective super dialed in. I was doing some healthy things, but it wasn't really enough to, it wasn't strong practice that was putting me in that game again that would get me to the win. So finally, when I started to learn really valuable information and put it into application every day. And ultimately, what am I doing? Now I am unsubscribed to the shortcut, to the magic pill mindset, and I'm moving more into my mastery mindset, right? And this is obviously just around health. There's more examples in my life, but focusing on the health one, because I know this is a big one out there. I know that it's so many individuals are struggling with how do they get themselves back, or into optimal health and body composition, right? So you look good, you feel good, and you perform really good, right? So I start doing this consistent practice. I start actually implementing, okay, now I'm going to start lifting more heavy weights. I'm going to start adding more high quality protein. And little by little, I started to not only see a difference, a change, but feel it, right? All of a sudden, my physique started to really change. And ultimately, for me, it's just coming home to my true physique, my true form, right? And I'm fortunate that, I have this natural athletic body composition, when I am in optimal health and shape, right? But it was so motivating to witness the changes actually happening. And they weren't, again, coming as a result of me doing any kind of shortcutted, do this fast, do this juice cleanse. I was so over all that shit because I did all that. And it led me nowhere except a place where I spent so much money on stupid shit. And, it just also being tired, feeling like, is this ever gonna change? And it only changed when my mindset around it changed. That's one of the most important pieces to highlight. When my mindset started to change and move into this mastery mindset where I was so determined to not just lose weight, but to get stronger, to really start, bringing in even more nutrition to fuel my body for optimal performance. Like performance became my goal above weight loss. And because performance became my goal, that right there shifted my behaviors, my habits, my entire lifestyle, right? My whole approach. So getting to the end of the story, happy ending, a couple of years, I mean, my body actually changed pretty fast at that point. Because when you really start doing the right things, especially in terms of like your health and your body composition, you can actually see dramatic changes pretty quickly, So that started to happen for me. It was very motivating. And at that point for me, now I was so removed from this idea of just wanting to lose weight. I mean, my body composition was pretty much fucking rock starring at that point, and I felt so good in the gym. And ultimately, I just felt like my true self because I am an athlete, always have been. So it was like coming home to my authentic self. But it was a long way home. And that's the point. I had to be willing to take the long route home to get to homeostasis, to reach my optimal vitality and body composition and get into this real holistic place of feeling great, and just and also cultivating the behaviors and the habits and the mindset that would not just, keep me in the game with my health, my fitness, but also all of those behaviors and habits, skills transferred to so many other parts of my life. Business is a perfect example of it. When you are doing the right things and you're not trying to just get it fast and, get as much as you can fast now, you're going to undoubtedly meet challenges. And that's perfectly designed for the course because you have to build resilience. You have to build perseverance. You have to know, what are you made of? Like, what are you capable of? Can you endure hard shit, hard moments? Or do you just get, sidelined and taken out of the game completely? If you're not actually focused on practice to fortify the skills, practice to really embed the behaviors and the habits, practice to really forge mastery. Again, this is in any area of your life. If that's not the goal, if you're not focused on that, then it is going to be very easy for one hard moment, one life moment to come in and just take you out of the game completely. Again, that could be in any area of your life, right? So I want you to win. I want you to not just win now. I want you to win as a constant in your life. And this does not mean that it's not going to mean that you're omitted from challenges and even failing along the way. Failing is how you know that you're going the right way. If you're trying to avoid failure, you can be sure that you're actually going the opposite way because failure is sprinkled on the path. It accessorizes the path to success, to winning, right? So like if, let's just say, again, we'll pull it back to health. If you've been kicking ass, like you're actually doing the hard work, you're doing the real things and you're making progress, but let's just say, something happens in your life and you get sidelined for 2 weeks, right? You get sick and now you're not in the gym and you can't, do what you've been doing, but you've built enough, you've put in enough practice at that point where, yeah, that 2 weeks sucks to be taken out, but it's not enough to take you completely out of the game because you've forged enough practice, the behaviors, the habits, the skill is already there enough to where, yeah, it's a temporary sideline moment. It's a temporary, pause or could even feel like just a, setback, but it's ultimately just a moment. It's not stealing you from, the path to victory, right? And that's so important to keep in mind. It's massive, anything. Let's move it to career for a moment. I mean, I can speak to this so honestly and so powerfully in the career space as well. I spent a good, almost 15 years of my life as a celebrity makeup artist. And I climbed from, ground zero, like the very, very bottom, freelance, and went all the way to the top 1%. 1%. But so much emphasis because this career is incredibly competitive. You're in the entertainment world, and this is before Instagram and YouTube and all of that. We actually had physical portfolios that we used to print our images and take around. So it was a different, there were no filters back then, right? You had to kick ass to actually make it. And I remember, in the beginning, the earlier parts of my career, of course, and I was younger. So, it's like you want those big wins and you want them now and you want them fast. And I was certainly, in that mindset as well. But they didn't all come. They didn't come, so easily, so fast and, in large amounts. There was certainly a long journey that I had to go on that I did embrace once I committed and I decided, yeah, I'm going in on this career. I had to embrace the long route, and I had to embrace all of the fucking rejection and all of the hardship. And there was so much, on that path, right? But again, all of that gave me so much of what I actually share here now as a constant in this business of mine, this career of mine today. All the mental fortitude, all the resilience, all the grit, all the strategies and the tactics, so much of that was formulated as a result of me embracing the long route of my, celebrity makeup artistry career. You know what I'm saying? And it's cute because, throughout later in my career, when I started to really rise to the top and I was experiencing some of the greatest wins that anyone in that position, in that career space wants, the big press junkets and the celebrity clients and winning the Oscars and all of this stuff, the billboards and all of it. Right. And, periodically I would think back to my earliest days when I first started and how, my approach was, it wasn't a magic pill approach necessarily because I knew that wasn't necessarily reality, but I was so hungry for the big wins that I was, gaining at the point of that I had already gained at the point of reflection earlier on in my career. And what's interesting is, the truth is that I wouldn't have been ready for it. That's something that's so important. You need to be ready for certain accolades and successes and gains. And that's more of an internal readiness that I'm talking about. A great example of someone who's not ready is, these young individuals who experience fame just at a very, very young age, and they have not developed yet enough internal, the resilience, and they don't know who they truly are yet. They don't have, self-reliance tools. Confidence isn't truly locked in yet because they're just constantly getting validated from the external. So that's a lot of the confidence. And the list goes on and on, right? So what ends up happening is all that success ends up, hurting them, right? And then we know, I won't name names, but I'm sure you're thinking of somebody right now because there's so many. It's easy, right? The story of they fucking lose it, right? Not all wins. You don't want all your wins coming right now and in, copious amounts. We want to embrace the process of mastery. One of the greatest books on this subject is Mastery by Robert Greene. I highly recommend you check it out. It validates my entire fucking life journey, which is so special. But he is, I'm going to actually read a quote because it's so, I have several from him, but this one's so good. Okay. First, it is essential that you begin with one skill that you can master, and that serves as a foundation for acquiring others. You must avoid at all costs the idea that you can manage learning several skills at a time. You need to develop your powers of concentration and understand that trying to multitask will be the death of the process. That is so important. That's especially today. We're being sold that you need to be everything and a lot of it and the best right fucking now. I mean, there's even like the 30 under 30, like you're highlighted if you're like a millionaire before you hit 30. Well, congratulations. I'm not taking away that accolade from anybody who fucking gets it. That's great. So long as you've developed the internal skills that are going to help you handle the millions and sustain that level of achievement and expand on it throughout your life. Again, you're not trying to be a one-hit wonder, and this is any area of your life. You don't want to just have a moment where you lost weight and then you gained it all back. That's the point, right? Like weight loss, anybody can lose weight. Not everybody can keep it off. Why? Because the ones that keep it off did the real work. They developed the habits, they developed the mindset, they developed the behaviors that keep them in the game, that keep the weight off, that keep their body composition in optimal shape. You can't shortcut that shit. Sorry, but not sorry, because everything that you gain by doing the real work is everything that you truly want, that any one of us want. We just have to get ourselves in that mindset to embrace that journey and not just be sold on, oh, I could do this fast. Listen, there are definitely individuals, experts out there. I'm one of them who can offer advice, tactics, skills, a blueprint that can help you streamline more of your focus so that you can really execute your practice with a higher level, right? But you still got to show up and practice every day. Nothing I give you can shorten the practice process. But what I give you can help your practice be fucking more badass, more effective, more efficient, as me and so many others who are out here in the professional world offering support in any area, in your finances, in your health, your fitness. I mean, these are the pillars that most people are looking to really cultivate more fulfillment, anything that has to do with yourself, like self-connection, just your inner world, none of that. You can't push a fucking button and get it done quick. Nothing. You want to manifest your ultimate life, the visions that come through your heart that you really want to live in your life. Not even that is a fast happening. You might be able to manifest something fast. I've done it, but manifestation is a skill. And you cannot just have one moment and think like, oh, I just got it all figured out. I'll tell you why. Because you might manifest one thing easy, but that's just because you don't have as much resistance or programming in that one particular area that makes it, hard for you. It just makes it easier. There's no issue for you. But any area that you have any kind of subconscious programming that conflicts with that desire, you're going to have a harder time manifesting that. So what do you need to do? You need to have more practice around what it takes to actually manifest. This is all mindset work, right? Visualization, affirmations, reprogramming your subconscious beliefs, all of that. See what I'm saying? So there's no escape here from doing the work that sustains the fulfillment that you want in any area of your life. I believe that if you're tuned into me, and if you've been tuned into me and my work for some time now, you are likely someone who really does embrace the mastery mindset. However, there could be an area of your life And this is, again, I say this with compassion because I've been there, where you're just so desperate. You want it, you need it. You feel like you need it like right now. So you might have a little bit more of like the magic pill, lottery mindset in that particular area. And this is your invitation to realize that, first of all. If it feels so urgent, analyze what's happening here. Like, why does this need to be so urgent? What am I afraid of? What am I hurting from right now by not having this? Journal this out. Journaling is the perfect tool to help you get to the bottom, the root cause of whatever it is that you're feeling, right? And know this, that if you are feeling some kind of urgency in a particular area, like I want this, a lot of this right here, right now, fast, then that's actually your cue that you need to move into mastery in that specific area. You need to, again, I'm not saying you have to become a master of every skill in your life, but if you think about the things that matter most to you, the things that you want to, aspects of your life that you want sustained fulfillment in, then you're going to have to do real work in all of those areas that give you the perspectives, the mindset, the behaviors, the habits, and all the intangibles, resilience, the attributes, perseverance, fortitude, grit. You're going to have to get yourself in the game where you can acquire all of that and do the investment work to keep all of that strong. And that's how you're going to generate real success in those areas that's sustainable, right? Sustainable. That's the word. So I hope that this episode just hit your minds right where you needed it today, just to reinforce the mastery mindset. Again, get the book Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a sacred book to me. It's so special. One of the great things about that book too, that it just speaks so much to my work and what I've come to know about self-mastery in my own journey, is that the ticket to entry is to know your authentic self. Period. If you don't know your authentic self, then you could be playing some game that's in some area in your life that's not really what you want to be playing. You can get really far. You can even fucking win the championship in that game, and then realize when you get it, you don't feel fulfilled. And you're like, why is that? I've worked so hard to win this thing. Why is that? Oh, because it wasn't the thing that you really wanted to win. You know what I'm saying? Just painting a picture here. So that's why knowing your authentic self is so, so important. I have a guided and beautifully illustrated journal, You Are the Path. It's in the show notes, a link to purchase. This journal is sacred. It will help you get to the root cause of so many of your thoughts. It can help you shift your subconscious programming that's, standing in the way of you making the real progress you want to make in your life. Ultimately, it's a portal between you and your highest self. It's beautiful, and it will absolutely support you to be able to come home to your authentic self so that you can truly invest your energy in the areas that matter to you, so that you can develop your skills in these specific areas that matter to you, to get your wins, to kick, all your challenges is ass, to gain all of the intangibles that you get to keep forever as a result of doing that. And ultimately that give you long-term fulfillment and success. That's the goal. That's what I want for you. So please let me know how this episode hit your heart, hit your minds, any new ideas that came through that are really invigorating you right now, just thinking about it. I'd love to know all of your thoughts. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe, put a comment below to let me know a big takeaway. If you're listening on Spotify, let me know in the Q&A section what this did for you. You could always DM me. Roxy Look on Instagram is the best place, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review.